Ashish, over to you.
Great. Can somebody just give me a thumbs up to make sure you can hear me? Yep. Okay, thank you very much. So I'm really excited about presenting BVT to this Congress. And Roger, congratulations to yourself and the organizers, and thank you for having us present here. So BVT, what is BVT? Well, BVT is a core ag tech system. Of course, we have a company, but at the heart of the company is a technology where we are trying to come up with a different way to apply these wonderful biological products that we've been talking about to the crops. So, you know, we're looking at this from a sustainability from a slightly different angle. We have biological products in our portfolio, but we're also working with many partners who are already in this conference. But what we're trying to come up with is a different way to deliver these products to the crops. And we've come up with a system where we use commercial beehives, whether they're honeybee hives or bumblebee hives, on a very targeted basis to deliver these biological products to crops. And what we've actually been able to demonstrate is that we can apply 1/200th of the amount of product and get equivalent control because the product is being applied in a very targeted manner directly to the flower. And this is perfect for controlling flowering diseases and flowering pests. So what we've really developed is an alternative to spraying, where on a very targeted basis, we can control these flowering diseases and ultimately even insects that lay their eggs and feed off of the flower area of a crop. In doing so, what we can actually do is target the portal of entry, if you will, for many of these different pests. The advantage of bee vectoring is quite compelling. So on the one side, it's an entirely natural system. We're not doing anything out of what nature already does, whereby the bees are visiting the flowers for pollinating the different crops. That is their food source. That's how they forage. That's how they get their proteins and carbohydrates. So in a sense, we're taking advantage of that natural system and asking the bees to carry bee-friendly products directly to the flower. Not only can we reduce the amount of active ingredient that's applied, and I'll show you some of the metrics in a future slide, but also the advantage of the system is that the bees are operating and flying every day during the blooming period. So compared to traditional spraying, when a farmer may spray once or twice during that 4 or 5 week bloom period, you could actually be missing a lot of blooms that occur between, a lot of flowers that emerge between the sprays actually are left unprotected until the next spray. That's not the case with bee vectoring because the bees are delivering the inoculum on a daily basis. So how does the system work? It's actually very simple, very effective, but it's been perfected over 6 to 10 years of R&D. So we work with commercial beehives, and you can see a picture for a commercial bumblebee hive here. And inside that hive, when the bees are, they nest inside the hive, but when they leave to forage, they actually walk across a tray or a cartridge which contains a powder, and we call it the vectorite, which contains in itself the biological control agent. The vectorite is specially formulated so the powder attaches to the legs and the lower abdomens of the bees. So when they fly to forage, they carry the powder with them. And when they reach the flower, they're doing their foraging, they're looking for pollen and nectar. And in that process, the powder falls off of their bodies, colonizes the plant tissue, and imparts the plant protection properties that the farmer is looking for. The bees, in the meantime, return to the hive, bringing pollen and nectar back, and the whole cycle repeats itself during that blooming period. So that's the way the system works. We've been able to demonstrate, how the system compares and stacks up against traditional chemical spraying. Here we have demonstrated in Florida strawberries, where the traditional model over a 2.5-month season is for a farmer to spray different contact or systemic fungicides on every 5th or 7th day. And during the course of a 2.5-month season, on the right, what they will do is spray something like 4 kilograms of active ingredient of a chemical fungicide on every acre of strawberry. we've compared that against an equally efficacious bee vectoring solution where during the course of that entire 2.5-month season, you're just delivering 20 grams of our active ingredient. We have a botryticide in our portfolio, and you get equivalent control. So you can see the power of this technology, 1/200th amount of product to get equivalent control. And oh, by the way, it's a biological and not a chemical. Our technology has been proven, it's been built over 10 years, but it's been proven in the last 6 years through a series of successful trials in multiple crops, not only here in North America, but as well as in Europe. We have over 65 patents that have been granted around our core microbial product, the formulation, the dispenser systems for bumblebees, the dispenser system for honeybees. And we're in the process of commercializing our microbial product delivered by bees here in the US. But ultimately, we're talking to different partners who have other biological control agents that are very good candidates for bee vectoring. The solution is perfect for all kinds of flowering crops that use pollination in some manner. So our initial commercialization crops are berries. So these are strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. There's over 170,000 acres of these crops across the US. We've already started doing work in almonds. Of course, almonds, like our previous speaker was, from that industry, is the single biggest user of bees worldwide. Over 2 million honeybee hives are used every February, early March to pollinate over 1 million acres of almonds in California. And then we've also done trial in sunflowers and canola seed with North Dakota State University. And we're teeing up to do work in tree fruits and ultimately in vegetables, which is primarily an indoor crop. So the opportunity is quite large across all these different crops. This is a picture of of what the system looks like. The left shows the bumblebee hive, the vector hive system for bumblebees. And here we partner with the big global multinationals that produce bumblebees, companies like BioAg. On the right, you see a picture of our dispenser that's attached to a commercial honeybee hive. And here we will work directly with the beekeeper who typically has a relationship with the farmer that grows the crop that we're targeting. We're very proud of our biological control agent. It's a particular strain of the beneficial fungus Clonostachys rosea. I should point out that this is the first product that was registered by the EPA and by the California DPR for application using bees. So we are now commercial with this technology in the US market and ultimately are going for global registrations with CR7. This is a ubiquitous fungus that's found in the soils around the world. And as a matter of fact, we're also exploring more traditional application methods for CR7 that include application in non-flowering crops, seed treatments and foliar sprays. I mentioned that we are commercial now. Our pilot launch market has been blueberries, in particular in the Southeast. And this is the kind of adoption that we're seeing. This is a case study from a large blueberry operation in Georgia who has now gone from a couple of years of testing and scale up to 100% of their operation. Last year they did 150 acres, and this year their operation has grown to about 180 acres, and they've used the BVT system across their field 100%. And it's also given that farmer flexibility because this is the last piece that he needed to put in place to transform his entire operation into being a 100% organic operation. He's now opened it up for agritourism, so he's seeing additional revenue opportunities. He may even have a little U-pick operation. So it's given this grower a lot of flexibility and a lot of additional value beyond just controlling his botrytis and anthracnose. The real power of this technology is that vectorite powder that we have, it's somewhat agnostic as to which biological control agent is in there. provided the BCA is, safe for the bees themselves, we can have different microbes in there. We can have multiple microbes in there. So even though the green bar represents Vectorite with CR7, which is what we have commercialized today, just like a farmer will have multiple active ingredients in a tank mix, or they'll put multiple AIs on a seed coating, we can have multiple microbes that the bees will be delivering. So we're talking to industry partners to expand our portfolio, and over time we will be controlling diseases beyond diseases like botrytis and sclerotinia. So with that, I would like to end and thank you again for the opportunity to talk about BVT.
Thank you, Ashish. I just sent you a chat box, but you were in time.
I saw it, Roger. I'm good.
Timing is perfect.